For years, it feels like sellers in Florida have held all the cards, right? Well, in Pinellas County, that is all changing. So today, we're going to dig into some surprising new data that shows exactly why buyers are finally getting back in the driver's seat and what it really means for the future of this super hot market. All right, here's what we've got on tap. We'll kick things off with the big picture shift happening across the whole county. Then, we'll see how that's putting buyers back in charge. After that, we'll dive into why location is more important than ever, look at some hidden factors beyond just the sales price, and then we'll wrap it all up with the one key takeaway you need to know.
Okay, let's get right into it. To really understand the whole story of the Pinellas market right now, you honestly only need to see one single number.
And there it is, almost a 6% drop in the median sale price year over year. After years and years of just relentless price hikes, this is the single clearest signal we have that the market has fundamentally, and I mean dramatically, changed gears.
So, what does this cooling down actually feel like on the ground? Well, it means the crazy days of, a dozen offers way over asking price just hours after a house is listed, those are fading. The whole market is shifting away from that frantic energy and settling into something way more stable, way more balanced. Now, to get why this is happening, you got to know this one key term, months of supply. Just think of it like inventory on a store shelf. If there's too little, prices go through the roof. If there's way too much, prices fall. That sweet spot is right in the 5 to 6 month range. That's a balanced market where neither the buyer nor the seller has a massive advantage.
And this change in supply is completely redrawing the power dynamic in the market, which brings us right to our next point. So check this out. Right now, Pinellas County is sitting at 4.9 months of supply. That is incredibly close to that balanced market we were just talking about. Believe me, this trend is a total game changer for anyone looking to buy. It's really that simple. For the first time in what feels like forever, buyers can actually take a breath. You've got more options to choose from, you've got more time to make a decision, and because of that, you have a ton more power to negotiate. The shelves are finally getting restocked, and the power is shifting back.
And look, this right here shows you the real-world result of that buyer leverage. A whopping 74% of homes sold are now going for under the list price. This is the new reality for sellers. The days of just naming your price are over. Negotiation is officially back on the table.
But here's where things get really interesting. That countywide average we've been looking at, it doesn't tell you the whole story. Not even close. When it comes to real estate, the only data that really matters is local.
And wow, does this slide prove that point? Just look at these two beach towns, they're only a few miles apart. In Treasure Island, prices are actually up almost 17%. But then you go over to Madeira Beach, and prices have fallen off a cliff, down by a staggering 23.6%. It's just a wild reminder that real estate is all about location, location, location. But hold on, there's another layer here that's kind of fascinating. You'd think homes in the hot Treasure Island market would be flying off the shelves, right? Nope, they're sitting there for 95 days on average. That's more than a month longer than the county average. Meanwhile, over in Madeira Beach, where prices are dropping, homes are actually selling much faster. It's a completely counterintuitive picture, isn't it? See, a home's value isn't just about that final sale price. There are other really powerful forces at play, things like the rental market, and of course, the ever-present issue of risk.
So let's take a quick peek at the rental market. Over in Madeira Beach, where home prices are dropping, the median rent is still over $3,500 a month. And then look at nearby Gulfport. Rents there have just exploded by nearly 28% in a single year. It's clear there's this immense pressure in the rental world, and that always affects the for sale market.
But there is another huge factor we absolutely cannot ignore, especially when we're talking about coastal Florida, and that's water and the very real risk that comes with it. Okay, get ready for this number. It's honestly hard to even wrap your head around. In Madeira Beach, 99%, literally almost every single property, is classified as having extreme or major flood risk. It's not a question of if, but when, for basically the entire city.
And Treasure Island isn't far behind, with 93% of its properties facing that exact same level of risk. This isn't some small problem anymore, it's a defining feature of these coastal markets, and it's going to have a huge impact on things like insurance rates and what these properties are worth down the road. Okay, so we've looked at all of this data, the big county trends, the wild local exceptions, the rental market, the rising risks. What's the bottom line here? What does this all mean for you?
All right, here it is in a nutshell. First, the big one, the market is rebalancing, it's stabilizing, it is not crashing. Second, buyers, you have gotten back a ton of leverage you just haven't had in years. Third, you have got to look at super local data because those countywide trends can really mislead you. And finally, you just can't separate the price of a property from its environmental risk anymore.
But look, if you only remember one thing from all this, let it be this. After a long, long time where sellers had all the power, the market is fundamentally shifting to favor buyers. That is the headline for Pinellas County in 2026.
And that leaves us all with one final question to chew on. In a market where home prices are finally coming down, but the physical and financial risks are going up, what's the smartest move? That's the really complex puzzle that everyone in this market is trying to solve today.